What is going on, guys? In this video, we're going to talk about the 2021 crypto bull market and the recent crash that just happened. So everyone is probably a little bit worried, which is to be expected. But I'm going to be going over some facts and where I see things heading in the short term. How's it going, guys? If you could let me know where you are tuning in from, that would be wonderful. It looks like we've got some people. Bull or bear? Really, in the short term, bear, but in the long term, bull. Going to talk about that. Let me know where you guys are calling in from or watching from. I agree. Zero emotions. That is the way to go. San Diego, Miami. Even got the area code. Oh, Lexington. Cool. Alexandria, Virginia, Ireland, Montreal. That is awesome. Chicago. Cool. Got quite a few people from Florida. Columbus, Ohio. Awesome. So if you guys are not subscribed, you should first of all help me get to 15K. I believe I'm 4 subscribers away. So from hitting 15K, that would be pretty cool. Oh, now we're 3 subscribers away. So would definitely appreciate you hitting the subscribe button. Again, it is free. It does not cost you anything. And it costs me some things, right? My time. But I like being on here, like giving free value, and like showing my perspective on everything finances, to be honest. So let's go ahead and jump into some things. First of all, if you care about money, if you care about investments, if you care about meeting people that will change your financial future, you need to come to this event. We're holding an event on a $40 million yacht. That was the yacht. This is the inside of the yacht on June 19th. Believe it or not, this is still the inside of the yacht. Look at that handsome man there. So we're talking about asset protection. We're talking about tax, like a lot of things that have changed with Joe Biden, right? Or that we see changing with the new administration. And then also obviously cryptocurrency, and we are talking about real estate, right? So combined, we have over 50 million under management on our real estate and crypto funds, and we have a very, very accredited tax advisor. I'm not a tax advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, but we have one absolutely coming and speaking and providing a lot of value. So we'd love for you guys to attend. Again, that's June 19th in Miami. There is a link in the description below this video. Let's just kind of jump into things. Got a few indicators on here, but first of all, Bitcoin just took a massive rip downwards. We had a 50% drop from the top, which is quite extensive. That's actually the biggest drop we've seen during a bull market. But I'm going to show you, first of all, a few things. To be honest, we were growing too quickly. So first of all, it's really important to have perspective. So like this is a 4-hour chart, but obviously, back in October, right? This is the beginning of October, believe it or not. We were sitting at $10,000 and we went up all the way to 65. So we had a 650% increase in 7 months. So you need to have like some perspective. That is honestly like unhealthy to be moving that quick. If you look at the stock to flow model, which does a great job at showing price, like predicting price on any like good or service or asset that has a predictable supply and an increasing demand, it does a great job at predicting price. And we were well ahead of the stock to flow model. The previous bull market was honestly in 17 was a lot more healthy. So, and we saw this when we did the same thing in 13, and this is kind of what I'm going to be speaking about, is we grew too quickly. Now, a lot of people try to compare, 2013 and even back to 2012, where Bitcoin, the price was, $10, right? And the market cap was so low, it's very, very difficult to compare assets when the market cap is like today it's 2 trillion, and when you're comparing it, comparing it to like a couple billion, or it might even been under that at that point. I'm not sure exactly what the market cap was, but very, very low relative to where it is. But 13, obviously the price was sitting around 130. And that's actually when I first bought Bitcoin, was Yeah, it was probably right around April. So April of 13, bought it for $130, and didn't hold on to it the whole time. I sold it later in actually into 15. But what I'm saying is we were far outgrowing the stock to flow model, and in 13 the same thing happened. We saw a big correction, and the correction was like almost about 6 months. And then we had another blow off top and exponential growth. So to give you an idea, I know you guys like to know the answer of what I'm thinking right away, right? No one likes to like go through an entire YouTube video and listen to someone rant and just try to draw out the video. That's what I actually believe is going to happen. I actually do not believe that we're going to take this long, though. I don't think it's going to be a 6-month move. I do think that we are going to see this nice correction, and it's going to take a little bit of time. I think, if I were to give you a guesstimate, it would be 2 to 3 months. And then I do believe we're going to see another move higher. So do I think the bull market is over? In the short term, I do. In the long term, or in the midterm, which when I consider midterm, I'm talking about like the next 3 to 6 months, I do not think it's over. So like for this year, I do not think the bull market is over whatsoever. What I do think happened, and here's what you guys also got to understand, is like what is going on right now with crypto is a lot bigger than you are thinking. Like this is like this asset. First of all, it's a brand new asset class. So this like very, very rarely happens. It's also grown over 200% a year since inception, like on average, right? So if you were to average the growth of Bitcoin, even before this bull market, it was 202% a year. Now it's much higher. I think it's like 240% or whatever. So that's ridiculous growth. What you need to understand is Bitcoin is the ultimate competitor to the people that control money and capital. So like this is the banks despise this, right? Central banks despise this, especially privacy coins, because what you're doing is you're threatening countries on collecting taxes, which is how they like actually generate cash to then go to pay for certain things. And I think they spend money terribly, but that's a whole nother discussion. What you got to realize is Bitcoin is literally the devil to the most powerful agencies and central banks and banks across the United States and across the world. So one of the biggest controllers of capital is BlackRock. They talked about getting into crypto this year, but they didn't openly say that they actually dove in. And to give you an idea, they have more assets under management. I wonder what, let's actually see what they have. Let's see if, let's see what so they have 8.6 trillion under management, okay? And let's see what the market cap is right now. CoinGecko is actually down earlier today. So crypto has 1.5 trillion. We just wiped 1 trillion off of the top over the past week. We hit a high, not of Bitcoin, we hit a high of the total market cap of crypto, which was really exciting, of 2.5 trillion like 7 days ago. So we just wiped like 1 trillion off like it was a fly on my shoulder. So what you got to realize is there's one asset manager that has significantly more capital, multiples, 4x more than what crypto had a few days ago, right? So if someone wants to move the market to make a big move into something that is as revolutionary as crypto, they have the ability to do it. And that's what you need to understand is like what is happening with finance and money right now, especially after we've printed all this money, is a really, really big deal. So, if someone has that amount of control and capital like BlackRock, and I've heard some stories, and I'm not even going to really bring it up, but of people over in like I think it's in the Middle East, that there's conspiracies going around that there is some big group in the Middle East that was getting into crypto, and they all kind of timed this. But I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but I am a realist, and those things do happen, right? There's plenty of examples that you could give with like George Soros, bankrupting the Bank of England, and even with the whole thing I can't even talk about on YouTube where they won't show my video. So what you got to realize is there's one literally asset manager that has almost 5 times the amount of all of crypto combined. And if they want to make a move into the market, they can make a strategic move. And again, this is one asset manager. So just have some perspective of how big crypto is. I also want you to have some perspective of how impactful it is and how much it threatens central banks and banks across the globe. So, those are the biggest powers and controllers of capital, and you got to realize that this is a big threat to them. Like I said, not just Bitcoin, but like these privacy coins and all these things. There's over 10,000 cryptocurrencies now, or at least there was 9,666 like 10 days ago or whatever. So you got to realize that what is happening right now is a big deal. I do think that it is strategic, and it's strategic with the elitists. Again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, and I'm not one of those guys on YouTube that just goes, "Oh, TA is the answer to everything," and just blows off everything that like Elon Musk has had impact on and all that stuff. And I'm also not just a straight fundamental guy. I like to look at the both sides of TA and fundamentals, and then be able to make a wise decision. So I do feel like I said, it's starting to play out kind of like 13. I do feel like there's some big players that are looking to get into the market that have not yet, and it's really because they have board members and they are regulated and blah, 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 and they just move slower. But I do think it's a strategic move by people that control a lot of capital. I'm not surprised by the correction at all, but I am surprised on how big the correction was, and I'll show you why right now. Let me show you a few things. So first of all, this was in 2015 and 2017. All right, so we saw 9 drops. So we had 10 new highs, 9 major drops of 34%. Okay, and I believe the average drop was like 30. Oh yeah, the average drop was 34%. Right, so we saw a few under 30%, but honestly, these drops were actually like very close to each other, which was very interesting. So they're like, believe it or not, 17 was actually pretty healthy growth relative to now and relative to 2013. And then you look at this time, it has been really strange. If you look at the full bull market, which is from the bottom of the market to the present time, right? And that's looking back all the way, I don't even know what exactly, just the end of 2018. So we had a 328% gain, okay? We had a 53% correction, and then we had a 62% gain, and then we had the thing I can't mention. And that's the thing that I'm talking about is like, look, on the people that just look at TA, like, why don't you try to like tell them, like, when I say TA, that's technical analysis, so just looking at charts. Why don't you try to tell me how well this played out for you, right? The people that just had TA, right? If you don't believe in fundamentals, like, this is the epitome of fundamentals right here. So we saw a 62% drop, so that throws like the data all out of whack. And then we had a 212% increase, 25% drop, 312 or 24% increase, 31, 26, and then now 54. And I just actually did the math, and I think that so that put us at a 41.83% drop. Now, if you were to take the averages, and you were to split up this drop right here where we had a little rebound, and then split this one up and just take from over after the third halving, so you're just taking really like the last just over a year of the bull market, we would be sitting at like a 30, I believe it was like a 30% drop. I did the math this morning, which would put us below the average of the previous bull market. So, I honestly, from looking from an averages perspective, I'm not too worried about it. We have definitely had a lot of volatility, especially like this. These were very large drops, right? 53% and 62%. So that's throwing the average way up. But relative to this like after the halving cycle, I feel pretty good about honestly the averages of the corrections. And again, we had a I wasn't even measuring from the bottom over from when this happened, which I can't mention. But just from October, we had a 650% increase. Like, that is really, really ridiculous. So let me show you. Let's just see what type of dotages we've printed here. So we have not come back into dark blue, and I don't believe we will. This is just one really good way to like look at when you're going to buy and sell things. So this is a 2-year moving average, right? So this is just like, this green line is the moving average price of Bitcoin over the last 2 years. Okay, so whenever like the price of Bitcoin actually goes below the moving average, the 2-year moving average, that's a good time to buy. Okay, then we look at the 2-year moving average multiplied by 5, right? So it's just the green line multiplied by 5. Anytime that we exceed that, that is a good time. Like, you have about 4 to 6 weeks to sell before we have a major correction. We did tap that, and then we came back down and had a big correction. I was in like a massive leverage trade and sold right when I saw we tapped that, and that was great. I did not whatsoever predict this recent one. I actually got pretty smacked on the first major wick when we broke the support like 4 weeks ago, or actually no, it was like 7 weeks ago now. So overall, we have not exceeded that which we have in the previous bull markets, and I do believe, like I said, this is going to happen again, right? We're coming down, we tapped the top, we're coming down below, and I do believe we're going to have some ridiculous movements, and I'll talk about price here in a second. There was one other, this was another thing. If you guys were in my like IC group, this is something that we talked about actually a lot when I was talking about that first, when we hit the top of that 5-year multiple of the 2MA, which is the 2-year moving average. We had this, there's the pi cycle top. So everyone, this is an indicator that really predicts like the top of the market. And we saw, this is something that's very interesting. We saw the pi cycle top here, we saw it here, and we saw it here, and then we just saw it here. So we did actually see it again like 2 months ago. This was in, let me see if I can get an exact time frame on this. Yeah, this was like it wasn't even early April. It was before that. I remember because I was literally posting about it like an hour after it happened. And then that's when I got out of that massive leverage trade and started taking like a decent amount of positions off the table. And we just literally had that happen the other time. So like, I do feel like this indicator has a lot more authority and credibility with me now. Because everyone was blowing this off recently, and we just had a major correction. So this is, as far as that being an indicator that I'm actually going to continue to look at, that is absolutely something I'm going to continue to study. And we saw that in 13 again. So like, just because that happened, that doesn't mean that the market is just completely over. We saw that again in 13, and then we saw about a 6-month time frame, and then we saw a big toppage again. So what I do see happening here is, I'm trying to see if I have, I don't know if I have it in this chart. This is just our deck. I don't even know why I'm going through this on a stream right now, but I am. Okay, well, I am not going to show that. What I do want to just talk about real quick is, let me just go back to this chart. Where I do see price going is, I mean, yeah, so if like from this top, we saw 54% drop over 35 days. That is pretty amazing. And then from this little top, yep. So 50% drop. And we saw the alts just get absolutely smashed. So I'll talk about where I think price is going. I do think we're going to get a buy signal on the hash ribbons down here shortly. And I will be buying even more. I bought, personally, the fund bought like over a few million today on this drop down at 34. And then me personally, I bought like another 35 or 40K of like alts that I actually believe in. So let me talk about where I think it's going and why you may be worried today. So there's a few reasons why people are freaking out, right? I love adversity, and this stuff does not like scare me at all. Like this morning I was at the gym and people are calling and texting me, and I honestly just makes it actually makes it things more exciting. So I honestly kind of enjoy this, but let me tell you why you would not enjoy this. You would not enjoy this for a few reasons. Number one, you have not actually properly set your portfolio allocation, right? So I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you what I do. But like what you need to realize is, first of all, you absolutely need to be investing your money. If you're not investing money, you're going to get crushed by inflation. That's why the poor stay poor, and that's why the wealth gap continues to grow, is because one of the things, it's obviously there's a few things like education and quite a few things, but one of the largest reasons why the wealth gap continues to grow is because of inflation, right? Inflation just erodes away at your purchasing power. So even if like the dollars in your bank account are going up or in your brokerage account are going up, but what it's denominated is going down, you're actually losing value, right? So like people like the poor and a lot of the middle class don't even invest their money. So they end up actually getting crushed by inflation over time. The wealthy understand they need to buy assets, and they need to buy assets that exceed what the inflation rate is, right? So first of all, you need to be investing your money. Once you determine, okay, I want to invest 10% of my income, or I want to have, your goal is 200 grand invested by the end of this year, okay? Then you say, okay, how much do I want to allocate towards crypto? That's a complete decision based on your goals and your risk tolerance and all the things. Then you need to say, okay, within crypto, right? That's just 10% of my investment allocation. Right? Within crypto, now I'm looking at this pie chart and I say, okay, I want to allocate, for me, it's 50% towards Bitcoin. It is, 30% actually now towards large caps. Okay. And then the other 20%, I have I think it's about 15%. It's probably a little bit lower than that in small caps. And then the other percentage is leverage, right? So the reason why people would be really freaked out right now is if they just got liquidated in these leverage trades, which, by the way, I think we had, let's see how much we had. I think we had, one said 8 billion. I think the block has, oh, no, that was it. The block is decent, but honestly, they kind of annoy me a little. We had, I think we had 8 billion. Shut up. Yep, 8 billion in liquidations. We're going to drop down to some exchanges it was below 30,000. So that is pretty significant there. But really, the reason why I'm bringing this up is when you use leverage, right, and that there's a possibility. It can either hit a stop loss and you lose, whatever that difference is, or you just completely get liquidated and you get wiped out, okay? So that's one reason why you could be freaking out right now, because you just got liquidated because too large of your portfolio was in leverage, right? And that's why it's like I'm not going to hold more than 10% of my portfolio in leverage positions because I don't want to, because then you get emotional when you're trading, and then whenever you're making emotional decisions, you end up losing. Okay. So that's the biggest thing you should be trying to control whenever you are making investments is your emotions. The more you make emotional decisions, the more you're going to lose, and the more that you over leverage, and the more that I'm going to get into another reason here in a second, the more you're going to lose because you have more emotions. So here's the other thing is the reason why you will have more emotions is because you don't understand why you are investing in what you are investing in. Okay. So maybe like you've just gotten to crypto because your uncle's dog told you to go buy EOS, right? And you have no idea about Brock Pierce and the technology behind it and how the project's been completely stagnant, and now you're just like putting all your money into EOS because some guy at Walmart told you to go buy it, right? And then you don't understand anything about the project, anything about the people behind it. And then you see a big drop and you freak out and you sell it because you don't even know why you bought it to begin with. So you really need to understand what you're investing in. That's why, like, I don't even want to tell, like, I show what I do personally, right? But ultimately it needs to be up to you to make your own decision. And you need to do your own research. You need to understand what you're buying, because if you're not, you're going to be emotional and you're going to make terrible decisions. So that's the other thing is, like, look, if you're going to put any money into any investment, you need to ask yourself why. Okay? Why am I investing in what am I investing in? What we look for whenever we're deciding on a project is we look for, number one, the people, right? Because ultimately the growth of the project and the success of the project and the success of any business is built from the people. That's just what a business is just a bunch of people. So number one, we look for people. Number two, we look for coin metrics. So, like, how are they going to completely inflate the crap out of this coin? And then we're just going to lose value in the project? Or is there a set schedule of how much is going to be let out, how much is going to be burned, what the total supply is, what the current circulating supply is, right? That's something that's really important to understand, because most of these assets are priced on supply and demand. And if you know anything about supply and demand, guys, supply and demand determines, I mean, this is just basic economics. This is what's happening to our US dollar, right? We increase the supply, okay, and demand is staying relatively the same. So what's happening? Now the purchasing power of that is falling, right? We saw that with lumber. We saw that with groceries. We saw that with gas, right? The purchasing power of the dollar is falling. That means all the prices are going up, and the CPI is hitting decade-long highs right now, right? Consumer Price Index. So that is a really big deal. What is that telling you? Inflation is already here, and it's already coming, like the video that I produced 6 months ago, where I had a lot of people say, oh, yeah, like just nonsense. Bottom line is, this is happening. And the same thing, and the reason why Bitcoin is so valuable is because it has a fixed supply, okay? The demand is increasing because people want a better store of value that is digital. It's just facts. I don't care what your grandpa says or what Ray Dalio says. The market determines the price. So I really don't care what any, like, old-time investor says. A lot of them just don't have a willingness to adapt and change. And ultimately, they're going to lose. And that's exactly why Warren Buffett and Ray Dalio have been underperforming the S&P 500 for like a decade now, right? So, I mean, those are great guys. I highly respect them. But at the same time, it's like, you know, old people that just don't understand things that are digital, things that are not tangible, like, you kind of got to wrap your head around it. Anyways, Bitcoin is fixed, all right? The supply is fixed. The demand has been going up because of the reasons that I just mentioned. This is what happens to a regular asset. The demand increases, supply stays relatively the same, but it's increasing over time. In Bitcoin's case, yes, the supply is actually increasing by 900 a day right now, but it's disinflationary, meaning that the supply gets cut in half every 4 years. But what you need to understand is the majority of the Bitcoin is being bought and it's being stored. So, like, it's not actually it's actually really more deflationary because there's so many people buying it and hoarding it. So we have a huge supply shock. So this is what's actually happening, and that's why the same increase in demand right here has such a huge impact on the price, is because the supply is fixed, right? So that's the thing, guys. You really got to understand what you're investing in. You need to understand, like, proper portfolio allocation. Like, for me, like I said, 50% Bitcoin. I'm throwing 30% into large caps that I really believe in. I'll just name a few. I'm not going to go do crazy analysis on this video. I really do believe in BNB. Okay, so I truly believe in BNB. I think it has I actually think it has the most utility out of any token, or any coin, I should say. And then I believe in Cardano heavily. I believe in Ethereum too. Like, we hold a fair amount of the fund, but I don't hold any personally because I have exposure there, and I think there's projects that are going to produce a higher return. Doge is at a point of no return, so I don't hold a ton. I think I have like 2% of my personal in Doge. And then DOT I believe in. ICP is a little bit too new to me. I do hold some of it, but it's very small. Polygon, I do hold some. Solana, I hold some. VeChain, I hold a fair amount of, and now it's under 10 cents. If it goes under 10, I'm going to continue to buy more. I bought a fair amount today, right around 10 cents. So pretty much like for me, if I were to say, let's say that my uncle was like, hey, Jeff, I want to have the highest expected return during this crypto bull market. What would you tell me to do? Or what would you do if you were me, right? I would buy the coins that have a network effect, right? So the coins that actually allow tokens to be built on top of their blockchains and on top of their mainnets, I would buy those, right? And I think that those have the highest expected return, because expected return also factors in risk. So I do believe that like Ethereum, Cardano, BNB, DOT, Solana, and I do, like Cosmos and Avalanche, I do believe that those have the highest expected return over this market cycle. Okay. So that is where like the majority of my large caps, it's split between like 16, I think. And I share like a pie chart on some of the groups that we host. But my biggest positions are BNB, VeChain, and Cardano. So those are what I actually believe most in. So anyways, yeah, I mean, so this guy just said BTC will be over 1 million one day. I'm curious to see who thinks that Bitcoin will be over 1 million in one day. And a good sale right now. I mean, what is a good sale right now? Honestly, if you can get something that's 50% off from 2 days ago, that's a pretty good sale, if you ask me. So I would. Good, Corey. I'm glad. Honestly, it's good to get liquidated. I got liquidated for like 3 straight years, from 17 to 20. So it's good to learn from making mistakes. Like, you should not be down on yourself if you lost some capital in a leverage trade or something. Like, it's very, like, that is the absolute experience is the best teacher. And I could tell you 11 things to do, but the bottom line is you're gonna hit a few good trades. You're gonna think you're like Hercules, and then eventually you're going to lose. And it's better to lose. Here's a perspective. It is better to lose right now than to lose at the end of the bull market. So that is way better, because I still believe we have a lot of growth. So you have a lot of time to make up the losses just in this year, which is quite amazing. So I do. Okay, so as far as where I see Bitcoin going, I do think that Bitcoin is heading to 180 grand, 175 to 180 grand this market cycle, and I'll kind of talk about the stock to flow. So if we were to follow the stock to flow and we have a blow off top like the previous cycles, we would be sitting right around 185 grand. So that right there, also, if you look at the previous growth, okay, Bitcoin, if we're measuring from peak to peak, the peak was actually like 31 bucks. So we had a peak of $31. Then we had a peak of 1,100. Okay. Then we had a peak of about 20 grand. So this from here to here is a 35x. Okay. Then we had about a 17x. So what just happened there? We had the growth get cut in half. Okay. So from a 35 to a 17x, the growth got cut in half. Let's say the growth gets cut in half again. That would bring us back down to about a 9x. So if we have a 9x from the previous all-time high of $19,666 or whatever it was, right? That would put us right around 175, 180 grand per coin. All right? So that is where and why I see price going there. Several things could change that, but right now that is my absolute best guess on where things are going. I know it's pretty hard to like be able to like feel like you could do that. So yeah, like this market cycle because of this huge correction, but you got to realize Bitcoin is highly resilient, and I would never want to be net short Bitcoin because it is the absolute underdog that has always prevailed thus far. So I'm really excited for the rest of the bull market. Kuma, I would hold Kuma. Yep, I am still holding Kuma. Someone asked about yeah, all the money I lost in liquidation was profit I made. So exactly, Corey. I mean, you did it right? Like that's another thing. I produced that video where I lost 1 million in 1 hour. That's fine, right? I mean, that was all the profit I made in the past 2 months, which obviously, it's still $1 million. But at the same time, it's like, dude, I already know this game. I know how to make a lot of money, and I'll just go make it back. It's not a big deal. This morning, I was smiling a lot again. I don't know why. Every time we have something negative happen, it's just it just gives me a nice little tickle for some reason. I just like adversity, I think, and I enjoy this stuff. So that's the perspective you got to have. And I was actually going to post something on Instagram before I hopped on here today, but I did not have the time. I've literally been on meetings for 10 hours straight. And then we set up this desk and all this, or I didn't set it up, the team did, but I was on a coaching call before. Anyways, I was going to post about change and about volatility. So this volatility, right? Any type of change, right? So change in your life, or in this case, we're talking about finance and assets. So let's say there's volatility in an asset. What you need to realize is that is not good or bad. All right. If price is going down, that is not good or bad. That's a subjective statement by you saying, oh, this is bad, right? It was actually good for a few people that made a crap ton of money today. So what you need to realize is volatility and change is just an opportunity. So that's the way you need to look at things like this is an opportunity, right? Target, if Target had a 54% off sale tomorrow, you would probably be running in and going to buy some Uncrustables, right? But when Bitcoin's off 54%, you're not going to do that because you know why you're buying the Uncrustable, right? You're buying the Uncrustable because you know you're going to be hungry in the future and you like the taste of it, right? If you don't understand why you're buying Bitcoin, you're not going to buy it when there's a correction and then you're going to sell it when it's a correction, right? It's the same thing that I was speaking about earlier. It is so incredibly important to understand why you are buying what you're buying, where the market's at, the impact that crypto is having, not just on finance, right? I believe in blockchain even more than crypto, and blockchain is going to absolutely revolutionize every industry because it's just a way to record data in real time and for it to be unhackable and unbiased, which is the new asset, by the way. If you guys have not already found this out, the new asset is data and attention, right? So if you want to be incredibly wealthy in the future, you need to figure out how to control data and control attention, right? That's exactly why these stupid meme coins have gotten $40 billion in them in a matter of weeks, is because the people that are pumping them have so much attention and so much influence, right? So data and attention is the future. That is the asset of the future. It's like oil, 50 years ago. It is a really, really big deal, and that is what this stream, right? I have attention right now. That's what social media allows us to do. Completely make things scalable. Blockchain makes the ability to record data in real time and unbiased reality, and I think that is hugely valuable. So the reason why someone asked about utility, I'll talk a lot about utility in another video, but That's why I believe in VeChain, because they have so many partnerships with big companies like Walmart, and now AWS with Amazon is starting to test them as well. But they're just essentially like logistics, so they speed up the time that it takes to locate products and handle logistics with companies, and any fees generated within there is going through their token or their coin, right? Same thing with Binance, right? We believe in BNB so much because of all the things that they have, right? Their DEX is being paid out or through Cake. But BNB, right, they have the largest exchange by far out of any crypto exchange. And guess what you get? You get discounted fees when you hold BNB. They burn like 20% of profits a quarter of BNB, so it's deflationary. There's so many value adds to BNB. I could go on, and then we talk. You look into this will be a whole nother video. Honestly, I'm not gonna keep rambling. I think I got my point across. Understand what you're investing in. Have proper portfolio allocation. Just zoom out, right? When you guys get scared, I can't even tell. It almost kind of frustrates me when people don't have perspective. I honestly think that mindset and perspective is the most valuable thing that you can possibly have in your life, right? The way that I was able to turn my life around 3 years ago and get to where I'm at now is because I spent years developing my mindset, and every single day I listen to people like Bob Proctor and Jim Rohn, and I practice what I am learning, right? So I take personal development and mindset very, very seriously, and that is number one before anything, right? The diet that you're feeding your mind is more important than the diet you're feeding your body, right? Because if you feed your mind proper information to understand how to have a proper physical, an actual food diet, right? Then you would have a great diet physically, right? You'd be healthy physically, but it all starts in your mental. And I'm telling you, that's like the most valuable thing that you can have as an investor and as a trader, is having a solid mindset. The things that I just discussed with proper risk management, portfolio allocation, and understanding why you're even doing what the heck you're doing to begin with. So anyways, last thing I'll mention, the conference, right? If you are not coming, you need to be there. I think we've actually already sold out of so we have 3 different tickets. We've sold out of 2/3 of them. And I only released this I think I released this 2 weeks ago. Maybe it's 20 days at this point. I don't even know. It hasn't been very long, right? So we have literally a month, all right? So it is May 19th. So next 19th, right, June 19th, we're holding this event on this massive yacht. If you want to learn more about crypto, you want to learn more about tax, asset protection, specifically with trusts, and a lot of cool things you can do with like captive insurance and things that you probably have no idea about, you need to be there, right? It's a couple $1,000s to come. So first of all, there's going to be really, really valuable connections there, right? People that don't actually care, don't make money, don't actually care about finance, don't care about investments, are not going to be there because frankly, they can't, right? So if you want to be around a great network, right, I think that's one of the most important things you can have after your mindset is a great network around you. This is going to be an awesome network. Obviously, we spent so to be transparent, we spent like $90,000 on this yacht for 6 hours, all right? Then we spent another multiple five figures over 5 figures on this drone show. So there's like 1,000 drones that are all spinning and creating shapes and telling you when to buy Bitcoin. It's really exceptional. It'll literally tell you like, hey, you buy Bitcoin at this price, and then this price, and then this price. So it is it's amazing. And then we have cigar rollers, right? We're likely to have a juice bar on there because we got to even out the cigars, right? If you're going to be smoking cigars, you got to do something healthy. So you got to drink some juice, all right? And then the night before, those are already sold out. Like the VIP is already sold out. We're going to a super nice dinner, like one of the nicest dinners in Miami. And then Sunday morning, we have a breakout session where like we're actually like working with people and answering like deeper questions. But Saturday, it's all day from 9 a.m. to freaking 9 p.m. We like get on this yacht. We go through, or all day we go from 9 to 3, talking about crypto, tax, all those things. In the Intercontinental Hotel, which is that hotel right there. Then we literally, which is right here. Then we take a skip over here. We walk inside of this massive yacht. Then we have the presentations, and we talk about crypto, tax, real estate. and then we are having a massive dinner on the yacht. Then we see the skyline and sunset. We're seeing the drone show, and then we might have some hoverboards and some flamethrowers as well. All right, so cannot wait to see you there. Hope you're doing super well. If we are not over 15,000 subscribers, I am going to go to, all right, 15,001 subscribers. Love you guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. And I will be on here much, much more now that we have the studio finalized. And yeah, awesome. Cool, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good